Okay, now it is opportunity again to invite a friend of mine. We have traveled the world together. We have traveled in the gospel together. We have been to Gulu, Lira, Ruwa. South Sudan and in the US together. Pastor Mike, your great friend. And I thought I was not going to come. I requested him to come. And then I came before you. Now I have to choose to invite you. So let us welcome Pastor Mike Mataya of Calvary Temple to come and say a few words. And he might bring us towards the close, but that is for our master of ceremonies. You're welcome, sir. May the Lord bless you. Thank you.
Let's appreciate our father in the faith, none other than Pastor Wilberforce Okum, the evangelist, such a great mentor of my life. Our guest of honor and all the invited guests, I salute you all in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. My name is Mataya Mike, Senior Pastor of Calvary Templeship Center here in Bale. By default, I've been invited to this great occasion, discovering a champion in you. It is now coming to 13 years. If I'm not mistaken, 14 years when the Lord spoke to me about beginning a ministry in the name Champion Evangelistic Ministries. And then shortly after we started our ministry, I think it was close to 4 years, I see my brother Richard has written this book, Discovering a Champion in You. And from that moment, he became my friend. Because anyone who writes about a champion, he automatically becomes my friend. And when I read through this book, it indeed added more notes on my life and journey of ministry as a champion. So Pastor Richard Muwanguzi and your wife Martha, thank you so much for really inspiring us through this book. By God's grace, I do read. I think I'm one in Bali that the Lord has used to set up one of the largest library, if I'm not mistaken, in the eastern region. It has over 30,000 books of different authors. We have different commentaries, and so even as we are launching this book, I'm requesting that Richard will give us some copies so we can put them on our bookshelves for other leaders to come and read them. Our guests of honor, our elders, and our father in the faith, Pastor Wilberforce Okum. This is my expression of disappointment in our generation today, where we have people who just enjoy hearing it. Here says they collect information from the street which don't have a basis, and they have turned them to be our doctrine and are misguiding our ministries and our communities. It's now 5 years since we started the Champion Christian Library in Bale. Pastor Okumi, you hardly find a pastor in Bale walking in the library to read books. And because of that, you can see a lot of struggles in our ministries. So in as much as you expressed a disappointment for the leaders in the eastern region who don't support and encourage fundraisings, but I also express my disappointment of men and women of God who are stand behind the pulpit, but they don't prioritize reading books. So I want to invite us who are here, if you call it to read and to write, please come to Champion Christian Library and pick a copy free of charge. Can you imagine? Pastor, we pay per month, our rent has now increased to 11,000 USD dollars per year. That is close to 45 millions per year. Running costs have now increased to 12 millions per year. So you can round it to 60 millions we are spending on the library for the leaders who don't read. The money running costs is picked from our church treasury after we have collected the tithes and offerings. There is a percentage we get to run a library in Bale. I'm sounding this trumpet loud that those who hear me would now also go out there and encourage people and say we have a library. Go and read. Time will come when we shall close our library in Bale town and maybe relocate it in another place. But while it is still there, I encourage us who are hearing me and maybe online, please, when you walk in Bale, walk in Champion Christian Library and find a copy there and read. Today, when people see others succeeding, tulina enjogera egamba nti bagenda mu nnyanja etubeera n'abalanda abo balina sponsors. But I want to say, when you read, you don't face challenges others faced. You face your own challenges. I know there is somewhere champions turn challenges into opportunities of succeeding. But I would say, when you read, you can do what others did, even more. So, Richard, thank you so much for writing for us such a great book. When you invite me to give speeches, I'm not a very good simanyi kwogera. I was giving out one of my daughters. I've stayed with her in the house for 8 years. I've kept her. Today she brought me a man for pre-visit. And so we were also launching a health camp, medical camp. As a ministry, we want to have a medical camp that treats people free. So I was having all those meetings between 4 and this time. I had to balance out. That's why I came late. My dear pastor, I didn't avoid. But I was struggling. I don't know how to talk, how to pull out the money and buy a book, and also appreciate what others have done. So, Pastor Richard, I'm buying this book at 200,000 cash, and I'm requesting that you give 10 copies to Champion Evangelistic Ministries, and I will obligate all the ministers at Champion to buy those 10 copies, because as champions, we need to read about who is a champion and how to discover a champion. I love you so much. Someone should come and pick it. Pastor Okum told me this one way of really solving problems, cash, pledges. I struggled. I wanted to get some more money to come with. The Pastor Okum told me that when you're going somewhere, whatever money you have, bring cash. So I brought cash. I hope it is 200,000. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Back to the church, I believe this is a noble cause. Champion Evangelistic Ministries and Calvary Temple as a church, we are partners to this kingdom glory. And some years ago, I happened to be one of the people that released Richard into ministry. And I've been working so closely with Richard Muwanguzi, a great friend of mine. He's a pattern, but every activity we do as a ministry, he's always there. Throughout these 40 days, he has been standing with us. We're also planning to do a crusade and a conference in South Africa. 2 crusades, actually. The preparations are in progress. We managed to host one of the commanders in South Africa. He came around and we have aligned these things. So in October, 3rd week of October through November, we'll be in South Africa. Richard is in the next 1 week also is going to South Africa to make more preparations even as he's running a conference. We plan to come here, Richard, as a ministry and give our seed to this ministry to ensure this place has cement and maybe to add on more one piece, maybe in 1 or 2 weeks to come. We love you so much. May God bless you, our brother.